and I am working as a chief architect with SAP Labs India. Today, the topic of my presentation is around WebAssembly. So, what I'm going to do is run you through with a very high level introduction of what is WebAssembly, what it means in the world of cloud computing, what it means in the world of browsers, right? So, just to go over a very basic introduction, as I said, I'm working as a chief architect with SAP Labs India. I have been working primarily in the area of cloud computing, and I have around 30 plus patents in the same domain, majorly. Also, I am an author of this book, which is around cloud Linux containers and virtualization, mainly dealing with the perspective from how Linux kernel is realizing these containers. So to start with the WebAssembly as such, first of all, we need to know that languages which are not managed like C, C++, Rust, etc. So they have to be compiled into a specific architecture type. Let's say you have a C code or a C++ code. You will write this for a specific architecture like x86 or ARM-based processors as an example. Similarly, you as the number of architectures grow, like risk gets introduced, you have to again compile it to a very specific architecture. So there will be a many to many kind of a relationship building which becomes very complex. So an intermediate solution could be that you have an intermediate representation of these binaries. So you have just one code or one kind of intermediate representation which comes out, and then this intermediate representation can be individually compiled for specific architectures. What this means that your source, in the case here on the left side, has to be only compiled for an intermediate representation, and that then it can be used across different runtimes. So now coming to the main topic. So WebAssembly is also, you can say, kind of an intermediate representation, which is a bytecode, right? So we take C, C++ or Rust or Golang or Java or anything for that matter. We can compile it to a universal bytecode. What this means is a universal bytecode, which means it's a bytecode which has a very specified or defined spec against which you compile the code. And then you have runtimes which can run these WebAssembly bytecodes. So primarily what this saves us is that you can have a polyglot kind of a nature of computing where you can have different languages which can come into play, and then they can just compile it to a WebAssembly runtime, and then finally it can be run on any of the hardware or architectures. So what does it mean primarily from this perspective of a WebAssembly file? So just take an example of this specific function where you have a C function, and then we use the C function, let's say, to just add two numbers, right? Here in this case, number, and then you're passing one number and then adding 42 to it. So the structure of a WebAssembly runtime is primarily based, or the runtime is based on a stack based virtual machine, which means there will be instructions getting put onto the stack, and then they are pushed and then they are popped. So if you take this specific example, the opcodes here, so what we are doing in this specific function is we are getting the value of the first parameter, like whatever is the input of the function, and that gets pushed onto the stack. Then the constant of 42 is getting pushed onto the stack. Both get computed, right? And the value which is added is finally pushed to the stack. Let's say you have 10 as the input, then 10 plus 42, 52 gets pushed to the stack, and then finally it is popped out. So the WebAssembly based format can also be represented into a text file by a tool or a utility you can called what to wasm or wasm to what. Primarily this is just a typo here. So the basic idea is to see that how it looks into a textual format. So if you see there's a module, we call each defined WebAssembly unit as a WebAssembly module, and then there's a function here you can see which is being exported. What do you mean by export? Export means then the runtime which is executing can invoke this function of the WebAssembly module, which means let's say I write a function for adding two integers, and then I want to launch this WebAssembly module into a runtime like a browser. Then the browser environment, like a JavaScript code you have, can execute this function or invoke this function by passing these parameters. That's primarily the basic idea here. But in terms of a layout, if you are conversant with how a Linux binary looks like, similarly, the WASM or the WASM file, you can say, has a specific layout to it. The layout talks about different sections primarily. So one of the section, if you see at the top, is defining the signatures of the function. So if you see here, one of the idea is that it takes two integers and returns an integer. Here it is taking a 64-bit integer and then returning void. Similarly, there's an important section which is called the function section here. The function section's main responsibility here is to define what kind of functions are there into the specific WASM module. And finally, you can also define that these functions, what functions can be exported and what can be imported into the specific module. So if you see, I'll just highlight here these parts. So if you see here, so you see there's this definition, what kind of types it should use. And here you can see what kind of imports can happen. Here you can see what kind of function definitions are there into this specific module. And here you define what kind of exports can happen on this specific module. So now, since once you define a WASM module, which means you compile it to a WASM module, what you do is that you see that how this module can be loaded. So generally, there are different runtimes which can load this from the browser environments. All browser today are supporting a WASM-based specific runtime, you can say. So I have just demonstrated a very simple function here, which is a fetch and instantiate, which means it will just load from this WASM file WASM format from the specific URL. And then once it is loaded, it can be instantiated. So you get bytes of the WebAssembly and then you instantiate it. And finally, what you do is invoke the function. I'll cover this into the specific demos I'm going to show, which are very short demos, very small demos for this talk. We don't have the time to go into all the details here. So why we should move towards WebAssembly? One is that it allows you to do polyglot kind of programming, which means there are multiple runtimes now allowing you to compile it to WebAssembly. The other aspect is to see that what is there any performance gains we are getting. So if you compare it to a browser based, which is or JavaScript code loading into the browser, so it is loaded from the server, it is passed into an abstract syntax tree, and then it gets compiled into an intermediate representation, or you can say a JavaScript based bytecode. So WASM is already a bytecode, so it's a direct bytecode loading and then runtime. The other thing which we talk about is JavaScript support dynamic types, and in case of WASM, it is more like the compiled types. But there are certain limitations in comparison. There is also no garbage collection support as far as I know, and memory has to be managed manually. But these things are in works, or maybe they are already there. The other aspect which is good about WebAssembly is it allows you to support multi-tenancy in the nature, like you can have isolation and security specific to each individual module, right? So when we say we give a memory separation, which means each WASM module gets its own linear memory. Take an example of a runtime. How the runtime process will allocate is it will give you kind of a linear array. Since all modules are getting executed into the same Linux process here, so this is the separation which it introduces. The other kinds of security things which it brings into the table is something called a capability based security, where you can say for a WebAssembly module only specific file descriptors can be opened. Another aspect is about control flow integrity, so which is very important, where we say talk about attacks like buffer overflow, where you can manipulate the instruction pointer. So WebAssembly kind of thwarts these kind of attacks. Also, the attacks around stack smashing and return oriented programming are also not easy to orchestrate, but not very sure. And there have been some papers around like whether the side channel attacks can still be made possible, because they are even possible on the process level. So whether this can be still done or not, I think they should be a subject of interest here. One of the aspects which lately got introduced about WebAssembly was the support of WASI. So generally, when I have a WASM module, how do I talk to, let's say, the operating system? How do I make system calls? How do I say do file based operations? How do I do network based operations? So with this spec coming in, where there's a standard on how you can interface, like a Linux process uses POSIX as the API to do the system calls. Similarly, a WASM module, there's a spec around WebAssembly system interface, which allows you to do all these things. So majorly other runtimes like Lucet, Node.js, they have started to incorporate these features now. And over a period of time, these features will become prominent. And I think more or less WebAssembly will have defined features for interfacing with the operating system, like making network calls, making HTTP calls, right? So what are the different WebAssembly based runtimes today? So one is very prominent is Node.js, right? The other is you can think about browser as one of the client based runtimes. Then we have Fastly based Lucet. We have Wasmer. We have Graal. Graal is the new Java based virtual machine. And there are plenty of other for Golang like TinyGo, etc. There are multiple runtimes which exist today, and all can support run execute a wasm based module. So in essence, as to what I told, they act as a universal bytecode interpreter with JIT compilation built in. So what are the primary uses of WebAssembly? So when we talk about browser based applications, AutoCAD is a big software which has already been ported to WebAssembly. And then there are other games like Doom, this is chess, all have been ported to WebAssembly based format. For non-browser based applications, one of the primary use cases which emerges is how do we do serverless computing? So the idea here is that since WebAssembly is bringing you the features of tenant based isolation to an extent, why not use this to do a tenant separation and launch WebAssembly modules on demand? Since they use the same Linux process, their spin up time is faster than the process itself. So lot of edge cases like running on the edge for Cloudflare, etc. They have used WebAssembly was one of the format for running serverless kind of scenarios on the edge. Similarly, these can be done on the cloud side as well, and there are projects which are like Gil is one of them, which are using this kind of methodology. Other project which is recently talked about in KubeCon, etc., is around Crustlet, which is a Microsoft-based project which allows you to spin WASM modules instead of Docker containers, and their representation becomes a pod in the Kubernetes world. Then for the service mesh scenarios, Envoy is heavily adopting WebAssembly for allowing all kind of filters and other logic to be built in into the Istio world. Finally, I'll just show a very small demo. So the goal of demo is to show one browser-based scenario where we will just compile a simple Rust-based code into WebAssembly with three very simple functions defined, exported, you can say, and then we can show it executing into the browser. And finally, we will run the same functions in Node.js. So just to shift screens a bit, here if you see, this is the WebAssembly Studio UI I have used. Here you can see this function of Rust-based code. So I have defined a subtraction, addition, and multiplication just to show a very simple flow here. Since we don't have time to go into more details and show very complex scenarios. So what this function is doing, it is, if you see the extern, it is allowing you to export this function outside of the WebAssembly uh, runtime. So basically what you can do is once you export this function, as you have seen in the sections table of WebAssembly, here you can see that these functions are available for the runtime to consume, whether it is a browser based runtime or a Node.js based runtime. And once this is defined, let's say we have main.wasm as the file, and this is a JavaScript code which load this, right? And here you can see I'm just showing exports.mult. I mean, this is multiplication function if you want to run this code into this environment itself. But what I have done is I have downloaded this project and I will show it getting executed locally on my machine. So just going through the code quickly here, if I show you, this is a WebAssembly demo I have created, and I have created this file as the one I have shown with the Rust code as maths.wasm. Here I am loading and compiling this, and once this is done, what I do is primarily I just invoke the function, here, like for subtraction, and then I'm just displaying the output here. Similarly, I have done this for addition. Similarly, I have done this for multiplication. So I'll just quickly go to the browser to show you. So if you see this here, I'll load this again, and I'll just say 67 as the first number. On the right side, you can see this console where it is showing how the modules are getting loaded. So once I say, and on this here, I can just show you how the modules and functions look like. So you can see all these three functions here, right? And then I will say just add, and I will just say multiply. So the idea here is to show that these are all getting loaded from the module and getting executed into a WebAssembly based environment. Now I'll just show you a very simple Node.js based runtime where the same module, if I go back here and show you, this is the maths.wasm file, and again I will load the same file here again. So just using this subtraction function and passing two inputs here, 110 and 89, and we'll just show this. I'll show you the output. So this is the basic idea of the demo, and these are, I think, the resources which you can look once I share these slides. It talks about the runtimes which are supported with WASM, and then this is a very good introduction of a cartoon based introduction, you can say, of the WebAssembly, which you can finally see if you want. And finally, about talks about WASI as an interface. So I guess this is all I had from my presentation. Thank you so much for your time.